Welcome to the club, 'cause you're that kind of nerd.
Hello, listener. Quick story. Josh and I are ready to record this week's episode because Brian is away at the beach and the two of us were going to talk. And unfortunately, we just suffered a catastrophic technical error and Josh was completely unable to record. So we're sorry about the delay for talking about Loki and for Black Widow, but to make it up with you, I wanted to pay off something that we promised in an episode a few weeks ago when we re-released Gone in 60 Seconds, and that is our episode of spoiler cast of Beetlejuice. And right off the bat, you guys are going to learn a secret about me and Beetlejuice right at the top. So without further ado, let's Jimmy, just roll the thing.
Welcome, Patreon subscribers, to your exclusive retro review of the 1988 movie Beetlejuice. I am Josh Burns, and I'm joined by CJ Mellon and Brian Thornton.
I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Because CJ's never seen it before.
He just
because
watched
CJ
it, like,
lived under
yesterday.
a rock.
He watched it yesterday.
I did. I mean, confession time. Again, I said I would make a shocking confession on this episode. I have never seen Beetlejuice.
I don't say it's shocking. I mean, I've
never seen Beetlejuice. You should look at my Facebook feed and my Instagram feed, Brian. That is shocking news to people.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
This might be the only movie that I've ever seen with a PG rating that drops an F-bomb.
I was about to say that definitely
right?
dropped an F-bomb in it.
Yep.
Completely forgot about that.
My favorite comment that I had, though, on Facebook, real quick on this before we actually jump into the movie, was from Melissa Castillo. And she says, how have you never watched this before? Well, at least you're watching it now, unlike some other people who refuse to watch other things on their list. And then another follow-up comment. Another follow-up comment from let me read this right. I have a hard time with names. Laura Burns. Laura Burns. Okay, a certain somebody's list has the same credibility as me saying I will run a marathon. So thank you for that. After a lot of other people.
So all I'm hearing is that you made a confession and then I got shat on.
I know. There's also
Shat upon.
There's also a list of like another 50 comments of like, I feel like we failed your childhood. How the hell are we related? From my own brother. We watched this movie as a kid, and I think CJ is looking for attention. No, Drew, we did not watch this movie. I have never seen Beetlejuice. So anyway.
But I mean, that second statement is absolutely true. CJ's always looking for attention.
Well, I mean, pretty much. But a lot of people who are related be going, how are we even related? So I have a question, honestly. Considering this movie is 31 years old, okay? It's very popular. Why does this movie in particular hold such a very fond space in people's hearts? Why is this movie so damn popular? I have no problems with it. I'm just curious what makes it so great.
Honestly, I think that most parents saw the PG rating. They were like, "Oh, our kids can see it, no problem." And like for an 8-year-old me, this was pretty racy, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm on record as hating everything Tim Burton's really ever done. And like to the point where I can't believe his name's attached to Batman. I hate it. I love this movie. Love it, love it, love it. And it's childhood.
For the same reason that, regardless of Josh's personal feelings about Tim Burton, a lot of people enjoy Tim Burton movies because it celebrates being an outsider. And everybody who ever got poked fun of or made fun of or felt like they were different in any way is just gravitates towards Tim Burton's movies in general. And this one definitely celebrates being different. Being different is cool. Being different is okay. It's fine. And then it tears apart the 80s yuppie culture of, you know, New Yorkers who are like, oh, I just can't live without my art. I have to create something, otherwise I'll go crazy. Ugh.
Okay.
Well, they were also outsiders.
Yes, they were outsiders in that community.
In what community?
In the art community, and then for him and for his financial
Like, what
dealings.
was Catherine?
Oh no, they were just failures. They weren't
Delia,
outsiders.
Right? Delia, Otho, both of them were weirdos.
Sure, but that's my point. The point is
just and Lydia, while she was sort of, you know, had the sort of classic goth look, like, you know, sort of reclusive, I'm gonna be weird and walk around with my camera type deal.
that's my point.
Today she's just a hipster.
but you're making my point. The point of this and the point of a lot of Tim Burton movies is that the people who society deems as weird and the outsiders are the normal ones in the film.
Right.
It's the other people who are pains in the asses and the outsiders, and we identify with the people who society in 1988 said these people are odd, these people are strange. That's every Tim Burton film. That's why people attach themselves to these types of films.
The main characters of the movie were as normal as could possibly be.
They are ghosts.
Until they're abnormal, and then they're not, right?
They are completely abnormal and are ghosts.
Right.
But they're like normal people.
They're ghosts.
Yes, they are normal people until, like, for 5 minutes. They're normal people for 5 minutes, and then they're ghosts. Like, they are humans and alive for a minute and a half, and then boom, they are falling off of the bridge, going into the water. I don't know how, somehow drowning, but okay, they drown.
Yeah, let's be real.
Let's start off
that
with
accident was not that bad.
No, it's not that bad.
They should have been fine. Like, they could have escaped that car. Okay, but
I do
all right, whatever.
I'll give the dog balancing on the beam, then he bounces off and they go into the water. Okay, they died that way.
My car dropped 4 feet.
Yeah, right. We're dead.
Before we argue semantics about the Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's character, I forgot about the nosy realtor at the beginning of the movie, and I'm freaking watching this like, what a fucking bitch.
She's an asshole. This house
is this something that
with
happened in the
family.
80s? Just realtors would knock on your door and be like, you really should sell your house. You shouldn't have this house. It's not for you. Fuck you.
Small towns, maybe.
Bitch.
She's just looking for that sweet, sweet commission, right? And it seems like this is a occurrence that happens quite frequently, right? Because they're like, oh, well, it's your turn to deal with it this time. So this lady, again, sending offers even to people out of state, sending information about this house to other people.
A house that's not even on the market.
Right. Ridiculous.
What a presumptuous moron.
And then I really do. I thought the comment was like, this house belongs to a family. That obviously seemed to strike a chord with them. Just being an incredibly rude thing to say. It's like, what an asshole. So I was sad to see that she didn't belong in hell. All right. So listen, everyone here gives good performances, right? And let's be honest, Michael Keaton fucking is awesome in this movie.
Yeah, kills it. Yeah,
just kills it. And Brian, you've pointed this out to me many a time in other debates for other things. He's only in this movie for 15 minutes total?
I think the runtime is actually 15 minutes total.
It's insane. Now, I have a question. Again,
out of an hour and 40-minute movie.
Not knowing much about this movie, I do have a question. Why is Beetlejuice spelled Bettlejuice when the character's name is Geuse? Why?
Betelgeuse.
I can't spell. Why is it Beetlejuice with a J and not Beetlejuice with a G?
Because that looks ugly on a movie poster.
Is that really the only reason?
I'm guessing.
And just so, even the main characters couldn't say his name right, so they just do this so people know how to say the name of the movie?
Sure.
I have questions that no one can answer. Why? Why is this a thing?
Google it, brah. Let me see if I can find some.
Yeah, I mean, other than Beetlejuice being a star, I don't know much the other spelling.
What's up, Brian?
I'm just looking up random trivia in general about it.
Why is Beetlejuice rated PG? All right, why is Beetlejuice spelled differently in the movie? Oh, that's pretty straightforward, you said.
Fun fact, Michael Keaton ad-libbed 90% of his lines.
No, I believe that.
I mean, he's only in it for 15 minutes, but still impressive.
Yeah, Brian, you are correct. It's Beetlejuice sounds funnier, and Beetlejuice is a lot easier to remember. And the film was, the studio was begging them to rename the picture House Ghosts. And he said no, and they settled on Beetlejuice spelled out so people could remember the name of the movie.
I'm sorry, 17 and a half minutes of the film Michael Keaton shows up in. 17 and a half minutes of an hour and a half movie. Also, another fun fact, Beetlejuice was the first DVD sent out by Netflix in 1998.
Oh, okay. All right. It was weird for me to see Jeffrey Jones in this movie because I've known him as the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And the man had no mustache. In every movie I've ever seen him in, the man's had a mustache. Threw me off the little things. You guys brought up the fact that nostalgia and the outsiders, right, are really what makes this movie so popular. So what is it for you in particular that draws you to Beetlejuice? What is it about it that you still hold on to it 31 years past its release?
I'm going to go first because Josh is going to be more heartfelt. I'm going to tell you right now, I actually enjoy Tim Burton movies. I do not have any sort of like warm, fuzzy feelings about this movie. It's a decent movie, but I don't own it. I had to rent it to watch it for today.
Oh, wow. Wow, you don't own this movie? You only
I
every
don't own
movie.
this movie. I enjoy this movie. I do.
Right.
I really do enjoy this movie, but it's not like the, oh my God, I love this movie. This movie's like my childhood. I don't feel that way about this movie.
Josh?
Yeah, I think I was 7 when I saw it. It's I don't know how else to like. It's just a movie that stuck with me forever. It's quotable. Michael Keaton's hilarious. Winona Ryder is not annoying.
Yeah. I was very happy to see that. I was like, oh, she actually was a good actress. What happened?
Yeah, and like as a kid, it's slapsticky enough that the stuff that should be scary isn't scary.
Yeah. Even when they had the faces and
you were like, oh, I get it. It's funny. You know
when
what I
they're
mean?
in the waiting room and all the people dying in terrible ways, you're not scared by it. You're right.
Not
I guess.
scared by it. Right. And so even introducing my kids to it, I'm like, so he's going to drop an F-bomb. Like they've heard me say it.
Right.
So I always thought it was a really, really cool movie. It wasn't even like it's just something that's always been there for me.
Okay. I gotta be honest, I thought the effects in this movie were pretty good. I thought they actually kind of hold up. I love the fact that it still has that kind of B movie look to it, right? It doesn't have that Hollywood polish.
It feels like a Tim Burton movie.
Yes, but I mean, like, even it does feel like a Tim Burton movie because when you see like the sand snakes, I'm like, God, that looks a lot like some of the creatures in The Nightmare Before Christmas.
In Nightmare Before Christmas and Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah,
the Suburbia looks
exactly like
Edward Scissorhands.
And I think it did Edward Scissorhands like 2 years after this movie, right?
Yeah. But this is his style. This is the way he works, which is surprising why Josh hates every other Tim Burton movie because it all started here.
It may have, but then like it just all became very formulaic and crap after that. So like, but if you look at the people, look at the actors in this movie, like Gina Davis didn't catch on for another 2-3 years.
Right.
Alec Baldwin didn't really catch on for another 2-3 years. Same thing with Tim Burton.
No.
What do you mean no?
1989 Batman
89.
came
So
out.
a year later. Fine. But like when they did this movie, all sort of small names, and I think it was the same thing for the writer. I'll have to double check that. Right. No, reality. Yeah.
What year did Heathers come out? Was that in the 90s?
Edward Scissorhands was 1990.
I'm not talking about Edward Scissorhands.
Heathers was 88 as well.
But before or after that? I mean.
After.
Okay.
I was also happy to see the mom from Home Alone in this movie too. Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah. She's been in a ton of shit.
A lot of things. Right.
Yeah, but I just like a lot of these names were very, very small names when they did the movie, and then within a couple years kind of blew up. So you're like, oh, this person was here and there. Like it's for kids.
Right.
It's a cool way to introduce them to a lot of characters or actors that.
Yeah, I think it's I guess you keep bringing up that point for kids. This is a movie that straddles the line between being scary, like having that horror feel, but not scaring the shit out of you execution in a way that's charming, right? In a way that doesn't like feel like, oh, well, they've done a horror movie poorly. They did a movie really well. It's just, it doesn't kind of fit into that genre. It feels more like a comedy than it does anything else. And it shouldn't.
In fact, at Blockbuster, it was in the comedy section.
Is it? See, because like
it's listed on IMDb as comedy.
Because I mean, they're pulling their faces off. They're hanging. You see all these people that are dead. Like this stuff shouldn't.
Yeah, but
it's called gallows humor.
When she's hanging in the closet in her wedding dress and gets shoved aside, that's funny.
It is funny, yes. But it has all the makings of it could be something, and then they do a really good job with the comedy. I'm surprised that it took me this long to see this movie. I thought it was great. I don't think it's worth all the hype that it has and all the how have you done this and your childhood is ruined. I'm like, no, I think life was fine. I turned out okay ish. That has nothing to do with Beetlejuice. I don't think it would have been any different had I watched Beetlejuice. But I definitely put this off for way too long. It was nice to kind of have it back. Now, my bigger question is, What, a sequel? Like, what do you think about the fact that they have greenlit and started to work on a sequel for it now?
No, they haven't. It fell through again.
Oh, I thought it was still up and running.
It's fallen through like 3 times.
I would say that if that was the case, you really can't go wrong with anything Michael Keaton.
I think at the end of the day, if this does get up and running again, that you have the most important piece there. Michael Keaton has already said he'll come back to Josh.
And then you don't need anybody else.
You don't need anybody else.
Right.
Just get Keaton. You can
What about
cast
Burton? Don't you
anybody
need
else
Tim
around
Burton?
it. I would say you need Burton, but Burton's already, agreed to come back too. I forget what the semantics are that have made it fall through. Even Winona Ryder has said she'll come back, which that's all you need.
That's not going to happen. I mean, because you can't have her and Helena Bonham Carter in a movie.
Helena Bonham Carter won't be in the movie.
False. Is it going to be a Tim Burton movie?
They're divorced now.
That's not going to matter.
It does matter. She wasn't in his last movie. What was his
He's going to
last
put her in the movie anyway.
I doubt that very much.
I doubt that very much.
Yeah, Brian, for the last thing I thought was April was when I heard about this and Winona Ryder said, yeah, it's happening, and everybody else was saying, yeah, it's kind of happening.
Yeah, it's fallen through since. Find a recent article.
I'm trying to.
Let's see here.
It's listed as announced on IMDb.
Yeah,
I have a
Tim
USA
Burton's not
Today
even
article,
on-
but fuck that. I won't.
Oh yeah, Helena Bonham Carter was not in Dumbo. He just did Dumbo. Hang on, director. He just did it. She wasn't in it. She wasn't in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. She wasn't in Big Eyes. She wasn't
She was in
Frankie
Alice,
Weenie.
right? Was she in Alice? Yeah.
She was in Alice, but they
Which
were
was
still
the last
married.
big thing he did.
No, that's not true.
He was EP on Dumbo, dude. He wasn't a producer.
He was director on Dumbo. He was the director on Dumbo, and Frankenweenie, I think, was the last. Dumbo was the last big thing he did, and that was this year.
Wasn't
Frankenweenie
Alice
was the last thing Helena Bonham Carter was in with him directing, I believe.
With him directing, okay.
Correct. She hasn't been in his past 4 movies because they got divorced.
Beetlejuice 2 is still being developed.
All right, well.
That's basically what I found. After reading several articles, they are still working on a Beetlejuice 2, and apparently Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian was a trailer that was pitched, was a movie that was pitched with
way back.
Yeah.
Who got to keep Johnny Depp in the divorce?
That's a very good question. I think Tim Burton.
He's the dog.
Johnny
They share
Depp.
custody on that one, right?
Yeah,
They
joint custody.
They rotate that out. I think the other part too for Beetlejuice, and I'm starting to flash back on things, is I think it stayed in the zeitgeist not only just because of the fact that people like this movie, but it's also built into a lot of rides and stuff that were very popular in the 90s and the early aughts, right?
Well, you also got to remember there was a cartoon that lasted several years in the 90s as well.
I did not know that.
I don't know exactly how many seasons it was. Hold, please. We're going to have to do a lot of editing while I Google shit. Beetlejuice.
While you're doing that, okay. While you're doing that, I just like to get this. When this movie has a lot of things, just Josh, you said it's quotable. It's stuff that really kind of sticks out to you. What is the most memorable scene for you? What is the scene that you think about or you call out when someone says Beetlejuice?
Nice fucking model. And then he makes a honking sound and grabs his crotch. Like it's...
He does do that.
My kids quote it, and they just leave out the curse word.
Well, they go, nice model, and then grab their crotch.
Nice bleeping model. Honk, honk.
Brian, what about you? What is the thing from Beetlejuice that stayed with you the most?
I think the most notable scene is the dinner table scene.
The dinner table, the banana scene.
Absolutely. Everybody thinks of that. To answer my question,
to answer my own question from earlier.
the Beetlejuice cartoon lasted for 4 seasons. It aired from December 1989 to December 1991. So it was also on as a cartoon for 3 years. Don't forget about the fact that it was also a huge attraction at Universal Studios for up until
that's what
5
I was
years
remembering.
ago.
Yeah, that's what I was remembering. Going to Universal.
He had the rock and roll like stage play thing that they used to do.
Right. There also was a Broadway show for Beetlejuice.
There is a Broadway show that just released in March.
So, I mean, that was my bigger part too, was I remember not even having seen the movie until recently. I know of this dinner table scene. And
I thought you were asking me about a quote. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Is that the scene? Like when someone says...
absolutely. Everybody knows that scene.
Everyone says that part for Beetlejuice. It was, again, this was a fun movie to see. I mean, if you got a sequel, would you be down for it? Is this something that you would want to that you would want to see done again?
Yeah, why not?
It's been 31 years. They didn't know if
It doesn't matter because
don't-
it's like
yeah,
this
just-
dude lives in an alternate universe. He can
Yeah.
come and go. So it doesn't.
And
The
he's
time,
he's a bunch of makeup. Like Michael Keaton doesn't.
right? Imagine all the things he can do with modern technology. How much more he could screw with people.
So that was the other part too. When you're talking about
Just imagine all he can do now that Michael Keaton, let's face it, is a better actor than he was in 1988.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, gimme.
All right.
I'll watch it.
Looking at the financial success, right? I like to pull up the numbers. So the estimated budget for this movie was $15 million. To put that in perspective, too, only $1 million of that was used for special effects. Tim Burton asked that only $1 million go to special effects, so that way he could have that B movie look and feel to it. Opening weekend, $8 million. That was in 1988, people. That's crazy. Gross in the U.S. was $74 million. Worldwide, also in that 74 realm, too. So this thing made back its money, and then some. So, I mean, for 1988, highly successful, highly profitable. I thought this movie was great. I can't believe I waited this long to watch it. I don't think it's something you have to race to see, but if you got the opportunity, go sit down and watch Beetlejuice.
Like they didn't even release it worldwide. Like it made $74,200 some odd $1,000 in the U.S. and
Right.
the worldwide gross was 50,000 more than that.
So Canada got to see it. That's what they're like. Yeah, worldwide. All right, Canada. Yeah, we call it Canada.
In 94, Canada got to see it.
Is there anything else from Beetlejuice that we haven't talked about that you kind of feel like we need to? This is a short one. The movie's good.
No, I think you need to watch it and see what pops out. But like from what Brian and I both said, that everybody everywhere associates that Harry Belafonte song.
So much so that when he died, they did that dance and that dinner scene at his funeral.
Really?
They did it at his funeral.
I didn't know that.
That's how defining that song was.
He had another song. The end credits were Harry Belafonte as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. What with Lydia dancing in the air there?
Yeah, I thought it was a fun. I also thought the ending was very wholesome. I liked the way they ended this movie.
Yes, it was. Yes,
it
actually ends up like you're like, oh, it really ended well.
Good for everybody, right?
But wait, where did her parents go?
I don't know.
I think they just live downstairs.
I asked that question too. Did they just go back to New York? Did they not want her?
No, they were on the first floor, dude.
They just split the house in two.
All right, I was confused.
Okay.
Well, listener, I'm thankful that this podcast has given me the opportunity to watch Beetlejuice and make me do it in a recorded format. So thank you so much. Again, thank you for your continued support for the show. We've got some more movies that are planned for you in the next coming weeks. We'll definitely make sure to keep you informed. So thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Well, welcome to the club, 'cause you are that kind of nerd.